I still remember the exact sound. Not the words. Not the argument. Just the sound. The sharp, cracking echo of my father's hand hitting my face. It didn't just hurt, it stopped time. 1 second I was standing in the kitchen trying to explain myself. The next, everything went silent. My ears rang. My vision blurred. And for the first time in my life, I looked at my dad not with fear, but with something worse. Strangeness. Like I didn't recognize him anymore. "You don't talk back to me," he shouted, his voice shaking with anger. Or maybe something deeper. Something I never understood. I tasted blood. I didn't cry. That's the part that scared me the most. 'Cause I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream, to break down, to beg him to stop. But instead I just stood there, frozen, holding my cheek, staring at him like he was a stranger. My mom stood in the corner, silent. She always stood in the corner, watching, never stepping in. And in that moment something inside me snapped, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. Like a thread finally giving up after being stretched too far. "I'm leaving," I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. My dad scoffed. "Go ahead. You won't last a day." Maybe he was right. But I didn't care anymore. Because staying felt worse than anything waiting for me outside. I didn't pack much. Just a hoodie, some cash I'd been saving, and my phone. I didn't even look back when I stepped out of the house. I thought I'd feel scared. Instead, felt free. At least for the first 10 minutes. The night air was cold. Colder than I expected. The kind that creeps under your skin and makes you regret every decision you've ever made. I walked without thinking. Past the streetlights. Past the familiar roads. Past the place I used to call home. Every step felt heavier than the last, but I kept going. Because turning back wasn't an option. Not after that. Not after him. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. I couldn't tell anymore. My legs ached. My phone battery dropped to 12%. And the streets got quieter, darker, emptier. That's when the doubts started creeping in. Where am I even going? I didn't have an answer. I just knew I couldn't go back. Finally, I found a bench near a small, nearly empty park. I sat down, pulling my hoodie tighter around me, trying to ignore the cold. Trying to ignore everything. That's when I heard footsteps. Low. Measured. Coming toward me. First I thought it was just someone passing by. But the steps stopped right in front of me. I looked up. A man stood there, maybe in his late 40s. He didn't look dangerous. But there was something unsettling about the way he was staring at me. Like he knew me. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said calmly. Shrugged. "I'm fine." He tilted his head slightly, studying me. "No," he said quietly. "You're not." Something about his voice made my chest tighten. Not fear. Not exactly. Something else. Something I couldn't explain. He took a step closer. And then he said the words that would change everything. "I've been looking for you." My heart skipped. "What?" I asked, confused. He didn't hesitate. Didn't blink. Didn't even breathe differently. "I'm your real father." And just like that, the world shifted again. For a moment I thought I misheard him. The words didn't make sense. They couldn't. "My what?" I asked, my voice barely steady. The man didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on mine, calm but intense, like he had been waiting for this exact moment. "I'm your real father," he repeated. I let out a short, nervous laugh. "Yeah, okay. Sure," I said, shaking my head. "And I'm the president." I stood up, ready to walk away. This guy was clearly crazy. Or worse. But then he said something that made my stomach drop. "Your birthday is October 17th, he said. "You were born at 3:42 in the morning." Froze. "You had a small scar on your left shoulder when you were a baby. Your mom said it happened when you rolled off the couch. But it didn't." My breath caught in my throat. "How do you?" "And when you were 5, he continued, his voice steady, "you used to hide behind the blue curtains in your living room whenever you got scared." My chest tightened. No one knew that. No one. I took a step back, my mind racing. Who are you? I whispered. I told you, he said gently. I'm your father. No, I snapped. No, you're not. My dad is. Is the man who just slapped you tonight, he interrupted softly. Silence. Cold, heavy silence. My heart started pounding. How do you know that? I demanded. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out something small. Photograph. Well, slightly worn. He handed it to me. I hesitated, then took it. And my world shattered. It was a picture of my mom. But she looked younger, happier. And she wasn't alone. She was standing next to him. And in her arms was a baby. Me. I stared at it, my hands trembling. This isn't real, I said, shaking my head. This is fake. It's not, he said quietly. Then where have you been, huh? I shot back, anger rising to cover the fear. Why show up now? Why not before? His expression changed. For the first time I saw something crack in him. I wasn't allowed to, he said. What does that even mean? It means, he said slowly, your mother made sure I stayed away. I felt like the ground beneath me was disappearing. No, I said. She wouldn't lie to me like that. She didn't lie, he replied. She just didn't tell you the whole truth. I clenched my fists. Why should I believe you? He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said, because deep down, you already do. And the worst part, he was right. Because something inside me, something I couldn't explain, was telling me this wasn't a lie. That everything I thought I knew was about to fall apart. I didn't want to believe him. I couldn't. Because if he was telling the truth, then everything in my life, every memory, every moment, every relationship was built on something incomplete. Or worse, lie. This doesn't prove anything, I said, handing the photo back, even though my fingers didn't want to let go. It proves enough, he replied. For you maybe, I snapped. Not for me. He nodded slowly like he expected that. Fair, he said. You deserve more than just words. I crossed my arms, trying to steady myself. Then start talking. He took a deep breath, glancing around briefly before sitting down on the bench. After a moment of hesitation, I sat back down too. Not because I trusted him, but because I needed answers. My name is Daniel, he began. And before you were born, your mother and I were together. I stayed silent, watching him closely. We weren't perfect, he continued. But we were happy. Least, I thought we were. What happened? Asked, my voice quieter now. He looked down at his hands. Your grandfather, he said. He didn't approve of me. Said I wasn't stable enough. Didn't have enough money. Didn't have a future. I frowned. That doesn't make sense. My mom never talks about him. That's because she cut ties with him later, Daniel said. But back then, his opinion meant everything to her. I felt a strange knot form in my chest. So what, he just made you disappear? Not exactly, Daniel said. He gave her a choice. I leaned forward slightly. Me or him. The words hit harder than I expected. And she chose. Yes. Daniel looked up at me. Not me. Silence stretched between us. But she was pregnant with you, he added. And I didn't even know. My eyes widened. What? She didn't tell me, he said. Not until it was too late. By the time I found out, she had already married someone else. My chest tightened. My dad. So you just gave up? I asked, a hint of anger creeping in. No, he said firmly. I tried. I fought. I went to see her to talk to her. But she wouldn't let me near you. Why? Because she thought it was the right thing, he said bitterly. She thought giving you a stable life mattered more than the truth. I laughed dryly. Yeah, real stable. He didn't respond. Because he didn't have to. We both knew what kind of stable life I'd been living. So why now? Asked again. Because you're old enough, he said. And because I never stopped looking for you. I stared at him, trying to see the lie, trying to find the crack in his story. But all I saw was someone who looked like he had been carrying this weight for years. And tonight, he asked, how did you know where I was? He hesitated, just for a second. I've been watching, he admitted. A chill ran down my spine. Watching. Not like that, he said quickly. Just keeping an eye from a distance. Waiting for the right moment. That's not creepy at all, I muttered. I know how it sounds, he said. But I didn't want to disrupt your life. I looked away. Too much. This was all too much. But then, thought hit me. If this is true, I said slowly, then why does he look nothing like me? Daniel didn't answer. He just waited. And for the first time in my life, I started questioning everything. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. Even if I wanted to, something had already shifted too far inside me. The version of my life I used to believe in, it was cracking piece by piece. And standing right in front of me was the biggest crack of all. Daniel. Or at least, the man who claimed to be my real father. I need proof, I said finally, my voice steadier than I felt. Real proof. Not stories. Not old pictures. He nodded immediately, like he had been expecting that. Fair, he said. You deserve that. Then give it to me. He reached into his pocket again, slower this time, almost careful. Not to scare me, not to push too hard. What he pulled out wasn't dramatic. Just a folded piece of paper. DNA test clinic, he said. I already looked into it. We can go tomorrow morning. I stared at the paper. This was real. Too real. You're that sure? Yes. I've been sure for years, he replied quietly. Something about that answer hit differently. Years. While I was living my life, going to school, sitting at dinner tables, pretending everything was normal. This man had been out there, carrying the same truth I didn't even know existed. And suddenly, the question wasn't just is he telling the truth. Became, why was I never told? Fine, I said. We'll do it. But even as the words left my mouth, doubt crept in. Because if the test came back positive, I didn't just gain a father. I lost one. Or at least, the idea of one. That night I didn't sleep. Daniel insisted I take his jacket when the cold got worse. I didn't want to accept it, but eventually I did. Not because I trusted him, but because I needed it. We didn't talk much after that. We just sat there. Two strangers connected by something neither of us fully understood yet. Morning came slowly. The kind of slow that makes everything feel heavier. We went to the clinic. The walk felt longer than it actually was. Every step felt like I was moving toward something I couldn't undo. Inside everything was too normal. Too clean. Too quiet. Like the place had no idea it was about to flip my entire life upside down. The test itself was simple. Swab. Form. Signature. That's it. I asked, almost disappointed. That's it, the receptionist said. Results in 24 to 48 hours. 48 hours. Sounded short, but it felt like forever. As we stepped outside, I felt the weight hit me all at once. What if you're wrong? I asked suddenly. Daniel didn't answer right away. He looked at me, not with confidence, not with pride, but with something softer. If I am, he said, then I'll walk away. That caught me off guard. What? I won't disrupt your life anymore, he said. You go back to your family. Your world stays the same. The word didn't sit right. Because nothing felt the same anymore. And if you're right? I asked quietly. He didn't hesitate this time. Then we figure out what comes next. I swallowed hard. Because what comes next sounded a lot scarier than I expected. I went back home that afternoon. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed answers. Real ones. The house looked the same as always. Same walls. Same door. Same silence. But it didn't feel the same. Felt smaller. Like something inside it had shrunk overnight. I opened the door slowly. My mom was in the kitchen. Course she was. She always was. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then she turned. And her eyes immediately went to my face. The faint mark was still there. Her expression changed instantly. "Where did you go?" she asked, her voice tight. "Out," I said. "That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting right now." She stepped closer. "Don't do this," she said. "Not after last night." I let out a bitter laugh. "Not after last night," I repeated. "That's what you're worried about." Her face tightened. "You think this is a joke," she snapped. "No," I said. "I think this is the first time anything's been real." She froze. And that's when I said it. "Who is Daniel?" The silence that followed. It wasn't normal silence. It was heavy, dangerous. The kind of silence that tells you everything before a single word is spoken. Her face went pale. "Where did you hear that name?" she asked slowly. I didn't answer. I just stared at her. "'Cause now, he knew." "Is he my father?" Yes. Her eyes filled with something I had never seen before. Not anger. Not fear. Guilt. And just like that, I had my answer. She sat down. Slowly. Like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. "I was going to tell you someday," she whispered. "When?" I demanded. "After what? Another 10 years. 20. It's not that simple. It never is with you." Snap. Everything's always half-truths and silence. Tears started forming in her eyes. But for once, I didn't feel bad. "Why?" I asked, my voice breaking now. "Why didn't you tell me?" She looked up at me. And what she said next changed everything again. "Because I was protecting you." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Protecting me?" said. "From what?" "The truth." "From him," she said. That stopped me. "What?" Her expression hardened slightly. "You don't know him," she said. "Not like I do." I felt my chest tighten. "What is that supposed to mean?" She hesitated. And that hesitation scared me more than anything. "Mom," I said slowly. "What aren't you telling me?" Because now it wasn't just about who my real father was. It was about what kind of man he really is. "Say it," I pushed. "Whatever it is, just say it." My mom wiped her tears, but her hands were shaking. "You think he's some kind of hero, don't you?" she said quietly. "I don't know what he is," I replied. "Because no one's ever told me anything." "He's not who you think," she said firmly. "Then who is he?" She stood up slowly, like she was building the strength to say something she had been holding in for years. "He's dangerous." The word hit harder than I expected. Dangerous. That wasn't what I saw. That wasn't what I felt. But then again, what did I really know? "He doesn't seem dangerous," I said. Her eyes snapped to mine. "Of course he doesn't," she said. "That's how he works." Chill ran through me. "What does that mean?" "It means he knows how to make people trust him," she said. "How to say the right things. How to look like the victim." "That sounds like you right now," I shot back. The moment the words left my mouth, I regretted them. But I didn't take them back. Because part of me believed it. Her face broke slightly. "I deserve that," she said softly. That caught me off guard. "But listen to me," she continued. "I didn't keep him away because I wanted to hurt you. I did it because I was scared of what he might bring into your life." "And what exactly is that?" Yes. She hesitated again. "Too long. Mom." "He has a past," she said finally. "So does everyone. Not like his." My stomach tightened. "What did he do?" She looked away. "I can't." "Yes, you can." Snap. "You have to." Silence. Again. But this time it wasn't just heavy. It was suffocating. Because whatever she was holding back was big. "I need to hear it from him," I said finally. Her head snapped back toward me. "No." "Yes." "You don't understand." "No, you don't understand." Shouted. "I just found out my whole life might be a lie. I deserve to hear both sides. She shook her head, panic rising in her eyes. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I said. But it's my mistake to make. I turned toward the door. Where are you going? She asked. To him. Don't, she said, her voice breaking. Please. Pause. Just for a second. Because a part of me still cared. Still hesitated. Still wondered if she was right. But then I remembered the slap. The silence. The years of not knowing. And I kept walking. 'Cause now. I needed the full truth. No matter how ugly it was. I found Daniel exactly where I had left him the night before. Same bench. Same posture. Like he hadn't moved at all. Or maybe like he had been waiting. For me. When he saw me, he stood up immediately. There was something in his eyes, relief maybe. Or fear. You came back, he said. I need answers, I replied. He nodded. I figured. For a moment neither of us spoke. The air between us felt heavier than before. Because now, it wasn't just curiosity pulling me forward. It was conflict. My mom says you're dangerous, I said bluntly. There it was. No build-up. No hesitation. Just the truth thrown between us like a weapon. Daniel didn't react the way I expected. He didn't get angry. Didn't deny it immediately. He just exhaled. Lowly. I wondered when she'd say that, he murmured. So it's true. Asked, my chest tightening. No, he said firmly. Not the way she means it. That's not an answer. I know. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing slightly now. I've made mistakes, he admitted. I won't lie about that. What kind of mistakes? He stopped walking. Looked straight at me. The kind that follow you, he said. The kind people don't forget. That didn't help. If you want me to believe you, I said, my voice rising, then stop talking in riddles and just tell me. He hesitated. And in that hesitation, I saw it. Fear. Real fear. I got into trouble years ago, he said finally. Before you were born. Bad crowd. Bad decisions. Like what? He swallowed. Fights. Illegal stuff. Things I'm not proud of. My heart sank. So she was right. No, he said quickly. She's telling you half the story. Then tell me the rest. I got out, he said. I changed. I left all of that behind before I even knew about you. I stared at him, trying to read him, trying to see if this was another lie layered on top of the first. People say they change all the time, I said quietly. Doesn't mean they do. I know, he replied. That's why I didn't come looking for you sooner. That caught me off guard. What? I wanted to be someone you could be proud of, he said. Not someone you'd have to question. Something in my chest shifted. Just slightly. But your mom didn't believe I could change, he continued. And maybe back then she was right. Silence. The wind picked up around us, cold and sharp. But I'm not that man anymore, he said. I swear to you. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But belief wasn't something you could just switch on. Then why does this feel so wrong? He asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead he stepped closer. Not aggressively. Carefully. Because your whole life just got flipped upside down, he said. And you don't know who to trust. I clenched my fists. Yeah, I said. Exactly. And then, my phone buzzed. Message. Unknown number. I frowned. Open it, Daniel said quietly. How do you? Just open it. Something about his tone made my stomach twist. I looked down, opened the message, and everything changed. DNA results. Match confirmed. My hands started shaking. I looked up at him. Daniel. My father. And suddenly, the truth wasn't a question anymore. It was real. The words on my screen didn't disappear. No matter how many times I blinked. No matter how much I wished they would. Match confirmed. There it was. Simple. Clear. Final. You knew, I said slowly, my voice barely holding together. Daniel didn't smile. Didn't celebrate. He just nodded. I had a feeling, he said. Feeling. That word hit differently now. Because this wasn't a feeling anymore. This was fact. I took a step back. Then another. I need space, I muttered. Take it, he said immediately. I'm not going anywhere. A line. It should have been comforting. But instead it made everything heavier. 'Cause now, he could stay. He had the right to. I turned away, running my hands through my hair, trying to breathe, trying to think. But my thoughts were crashing into each other too fast. My whole life, everything I believed in, my family, my identity, it wasn't gone. But it wasn't what I thought it was either. I have two fathers, I whispered. Daniel didn't respond. Because what could he say to that? And one of them lied to me, I added. Still silence. And the other one? I turned back toward him, my eyes searching his face. Is a stranger. That one hurt. I could see it in his expression. But he didn't argue. Didn't defend himself. 'Cause deep down, he knew it was true. So what now? Yes. That's up to you, he said. No, I snapped. Don't do that. Don't put this all on me. I'm not, he said calmly. I'm giving you control. I don't want control. Shouted. I want things to go back to how they were. But even as I said it, I knew they couldn't. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You have a choice, Daniel said gently. I shouldn't have to choose, I replied. But you do. I shook my head, pacing now. If I stay with my family, I'm staying with a lie. And if you don't, he asked. I looked at him. Then I'm leaving everything I've ever known. For someone I barely know. The weight of that choice. It was unbearable. And then, out of nowhere, another thought hit me. Clear. What if both of you are wrong? Said. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? What if this isn't about choosing between you? Said. What if it's about choosing myself? He didn't answer. But something in his expression shifted. Understanding. Maybe even respect. I need time, I said. You have it. I need distance. I understand. I hesitated. Just for a second. Then I said the hardest thing yet. I'm not coming with you. He nodded. Slowly. Painfully. I figured. But I'm not going back home either. That surprised him. Then where will you go? I took a deep breath. And for the first time, I felt something close to clarity. Somewhere I can figure out who I am. Without either of you telling me. And just like that, I made my choice. It's been 6 months. 6 months since that night. 6 months since everything broke. And somehow, 6 months since everything began. I didn't go back home. Not right away. And I didn't go with Daniel either. Instead I left. Not dramatically. Not recklessly. Just quietly. I stayed with a friend at first. Got a small job. Started building something that was mine. Something not shaped by lies or silence or expectations. Something real. It wasn't easy. There were nights I questioned everything. Nights I almost picked up my phone to call my mom. Nights I almost went looking for Daniel. But I didn't. Because I needed to know who I was without them. And for the first time in my life, I started figuring that out. A month in, my mom called. I didn't answer. Not because I hated her. But because I wasn't ready. 2 months in, she left a voicemail. Crying. Apologizing. Telling me she missed me. That one. Almost broke me. But I still wasn't ready. Then 3 months in. Daniel reached out. Just one message. No pressure. No expectations. I'm here when you're ready. That was it. And somehow, that meant more than anything else. 'Cause for once, no one was forcing me. No one was deciding for me. It was my choice. And slowly, I started making those choices. I met my mom first. It wasn't easy. There were tears. A lot of them. There were things she admitted. Things she had hidden out of fear, out of guilt, out of a belief that she was doing the right thing. I thought I was protecting you, she said again. I know, I replied. And for the first time, I meant it. Not because I agreed, but because I understood. And I met Daniel. Not as a stranger. Not as a savior. Just as a man. A man trying to be part of something he had lost. Talk. Slowly. Carefully. No big emotional moments. No instant bond. Just honesty. And that was enough. Because real relationships, they don't happen overnight. They're built. And for the first time, that's what we were doing. Building. Not replacing. Not erasing the past. But learning from it. Now when I look in the mirror, I don't see confusion anymore. I don't see lies. I see something clearer. Not perfect. Not finished. But real. Because I'm not just the son of one man. Or the mistake of another. I'm something more than that. I'm the result of truth finally coming to light. And the choice to face it. That night, when I ran away after my dad slapped me, I thought I was losing everything. But the truth is, that's the night I finally found myself.